So given behavior strategies to help the parent at home, because oftentimes you hear, well, my student doesn't do that at home, but they do that in the classroom. So sometimes they're not aware of the behavior that their student is exhibiting in the classroom because it's a totally different environment. Another effective form of communication most recently is during parent-teacher conferences, you have parents ask, well, how can I help at home academically? I see my student has a C in reading. What can I do to help them? So offering suggestions. Right now we have our book fair. So one of the suggestions was, hey, why don't you head over to the book fair? Here are some book title suggestions or book series suggestions. Reading at home every night is important. Asking those deeper level thinking questions, and I often give them examples of more than just who's the main character, what is the setting of the story. I give them suggestions like, whenever they stop reading, have them think about what could be happening next, or what could happen because of this person's reaction to something that happened in the story. So, parents have been out of school for a while, and it's hard for them to think about how to help their kid if they're not in the profession. For me, I know for the most part how to help my child learn because I do it every day, whereas parents don't. So they need that extra support for how to help their kids at home.
Can you talk about a time when maybe you had a breakdown in communication with parents and why that might have happened, or what was the end result of it?
So I think my biggest thing is that I try to handle everything on my own. I oftentimes, when it comes to behavior more specifically, so I will take care of the incident in the classroom. And then when it comes to parent-teacher conferences and I'm talking to them about, oh, their attention isn't the best, or they do this often. And the parent's like, well, we're 9 weeks in. Why didn't you say this to me or call me and let me know? Because I could have been on them for doing A, B, and C. Or maybe I have never heard this before. This is the first time I'm hearing this. Their third grade teacher never mentioned these things. I think that has a lot to do with teacher personalities, teacher expectations. So that is kind of the wall that I hit more often than not, is the behavior communication.
Okay. Is it easy for parents to find out how their child is performing academically and behaviorally in your class?
I think if they have access and know how to access Parent View,
okay,
that would be their best form as far as grades, because they can go into the grade book, they can see where their student is. If they have a question or concern, they can easily email me. As far as behavior is concerned, how to see how their student's doing, other than my communication with them, there's no other tool for them to know that other than me communicating with them on their students' behavior.
So for parents that can't access Parent View because that requires technology, do you send home like updates, or how would a parent who can't have access to Parent View see their academic growth?
Well, we do have progress reports that go home halfway through the quarter. We take Galileo assessments, which are tests that are aligned to the standards that we teach in each grade level, and I send home their results. If we are not meeting as a parent-teacher conference team, I send them home, and I also send an email along with whatever I'm sending home to let them know that this is coming home. Please let me know if you have any questions. I also send it in the Remind app as well, because that seems to be the best form of communication these days, that I am communicating with them how they're doing at the midpoint and through their Galileo assessments. Other than that, I don't email the parents and tell them, oh, your student got a 30% on this assessment, or didn't reach a passing grade on this task. I think that would be over communicating, unless it's a student who is not performing to their best ability. If I notice a strong decline in a student's academic performance, I will reach out to parents because it's not like them. to act this way. Same thing with behavior. If I notice a student has been off for several days in a row, I will reach out to that parent. I will make the phone call or the email or the remind text and ask if anything has changed or if they can have a conversation with their student. But I definitely don't want to over communicate, because I have heard from students that, my mom gets so many emails from you and she says blah, blah, blah. Or, you always get those sides of things too.
Got it. So you've kind of already answered this, but I just want to clarify. Have you ever contacted parents in your class, and how often and for what?
I contact my parents on a weekly basis, sometimes multiple times a week. I update my website as well. So anything that I ever send out to parents in an email, I immediately copy that and put it on my website, because I know that emails get lost because of many reasons. So I automatically put it on my website. I have all the links to all of our online resources on my website. I don't know how often parents use it, but I have it tagged to my email so that they could click the link, get to the website. They can also click a link to get to the Paseo Point website as well. I also create how-to guides for parents, how to help their kids at home as far as using the resources that are available to them.
What are some ways that you've tried to involve parents in their child's education at home?
Well, first, by letting them know that homework is coming home. Anytime I send homework, I don't send it home daily. I don't believe in that. I send it home as a reinforcement of what I'm doing if I feel that the students could use it. I let parents know via remind in my emails. And then, as I mentioned, I will send them pictures of anything that I feel like they would not be able to help their student with, because the way we learn these days is different from how they learned. So I want them to be able to support their students. During parent-teacher conferences, I will send home on occasions extra items that they can work on with their students, other strategies. I have also taken pieces of computer paper, drawn out 2 to 4 different ways I have taught something, and photocopied it, sent it home paper copy, but have also taken pictures of those strategies and sent them home in a text or a remind, or through email.
Okay, and then can you talk a little bit about what you've done to involve parents at the school site?
So at the school site, in my classroom specifically, I don't always offer for parents to come into the classroom and help with grading or filing or anything like that. My role per se for parents is as a whole community. I try to promote activities such as Red Ribbon Week or College Bound. I think eventually doing some type of literacy night to get parents here, or a math night, would be something, because I've seen other schools. I have a lot of teacher friends, or I'm friends with people who have kids that are school age, and they will say, I'm going to this at my student's school. So I think that we are well on our way to getting there. I think only being open 3 years has kind of not allowed us to put all our eggs in one basket right away. I think we're putting one egg at a time, but I think that's important because I don't want to do anything halfway and then it be unsuccessful. So I think maybe after this year, year 4, we can, or at the end of this year, we can try adding more things for parents to come and get involved at here at school.
I know that your team does, I think I've heard that your team participates or puts on a parent activity as well. I know it's not school-wide, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we do something called APTT, which is Academic Parent Teacher Team. So in 4th grade, we are very heavy on fractions. Majority of what we teach, and I think the Arizona AZ Merit Blueprint is 32% to like 34-5% of the questions on the assessment will be on fractions. So we have already started. We had 1 meeting. We technically don't start teaching fractions till about December, January, but I'm
going to pause you there and then do another. I need you to talk for like 5 more minutes, and I
You're
don't have
fine.
that many more questions, so I need you to talk on APTT.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Thanks. I forgot about APT.
I was like, do you do anything?
I know I forget.